Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Do we have quorum?
He's getting some pop-ups off his
We have quorum.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Good morning and welcome to the Anne Arundel County Delegation meeting. I'm Delegate Heather Bagnall, Chair of the delegation with Vice Chair Delegate Dana Jones and our Anne Arundel County delegation. Before we conduct further information, I would ask everyone to welcome Delegate Brian Chisholm from District 31, who will be offering our pledge and our prayer today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for graciously bestowing upon us the great honor of representing the good people of Anne Arundel County and all those throughout the state of Maryland. We ask that you grant us the strength to do what is right with conviction in our action, love in our hearts, and compassion in our minds for all that we serve. We ask this in your glorious name, O Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move quickly through introductions to allow time for our speakers. We want to welcome all of our senators, Don Guile from District 33, Senator Pam Beidel from District 32, Senator Brian Simonaire from District 31, Senator Sarah Elfreth from District 30, Senator Jim Rosapet from District 21, and Senator Clarence Lamb from District 12. I also want to welcome our guests, Jessica Cook from Senator Ben Cardin's office and Pete Barron from County Executive Pittman's office. And I will let our guest speakers introduce the rest of their teams. I also want to recognize our counsel, Matt Carpenter, our delegation secretary, Roger Massey, my chief of staff, Rory Nolan, and Josh Paper, chief of staff to Vice Chair Jones, who are providing technical support for the meeting, and Nicole Butler, Chief of Staff to Mike Rogers, who has been providing support as we transition into this new role. I'll let you know when he's present. Okay. As a reminder, all delegation meetings will be on Zoom due to space constraints. And we have two guest speakers today, Senator Ben Cardin and County Executive Stuart Pittman. And we're just waiting for the senator who is has not yet arrived yet. So while we're waiting, I will let you know that next week we will have presentations from the Anne Arundel County Police Chief, Chief Awad, Anne Arundel County Fire Chief, Chief Wolford, the Anne Arundel County Department of Mental Health Agency, and the Crisis Intervention Team. Of course, a reminder that all of our speakers are subject to change, especially when we have our emergency services, because obviously emergencies in the county do take precedent. Also, a reminder to our members that you should have received a request for the delegation fund. So please be sure to get your delegation dues to Roger Massey by the first week of February. And thank you all. Rory, if you can also let in the county executives team. I just got an email that he still has
They're in
folks
now.
in the waiting room. Okay, they're all in there. Okay. So while we're waiting for the senator, I also had an announcement from our vice chair. So Vice Chair, if I can jump to you. You have a program that you wanted to talk about for the Women's Caucus.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman. I appreciate that. And it looks like my computer is exploding. Okay, so hopefully you can still hear me. In honor, on behalf of the Women's Caucus of Maryland, and in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, the Women's Caucus is holding a 3-week-long clothing drive for the House of Ruth. As many of you know, here in Maryland, House of Ruth leads the fight to end violence against women and their children by confronting the attitudes, behaviors, and systems that really add to this. I really want everyone to understand this is a clothing drive for women's and children's gently used or new clothing. That could be handbags and shoes as well. All proceeds helped the House of Ruth. You can drop it off at my office at 161 or the Women's Caucus over in the Senate. So please see me for more information. And today you will get that Dear Colleague paper version in your inbox, as well as it's already been sent out to your email. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair. As we're waiting for the senator, I do want to welcome our county executive and also give you an opportunity to introduce your team, who will be we'll be hearing from a little later. Do I have the county executive or Pete Barron? Do you want to introduce your folks here in the meeting?
Yeah. And I can just go on until the senator gets here if you want me to, just in the interest of time. But yeah, I do want to welcome the folks that we brought. And when I say your names, team, if you would get yourself unmuted and then just say one word like hi or whatever other single word you'd like to say, so that you show up on the screen for people with a little green box. So yeah, we've had some changes and I feel very good about them. You know, change is always a little bit rough. You worry about, who you're going to find to fill slots. And most of what we've done has been musical chairs. So it's mostly internal, but not all. So let me start with our new chief of staff who moved up from comms director, Jeff Amoros. Hello. Well done. And our new chief administrative officer who moved over from central services, Christine Anderson.
Good morning.
And we now have two deputy CAOs who will, there are primarily land use and health and human services the way they used to be under the previous ones, but they are, their portfolios may be a little broader than that. And they really are there to work on specific projects. So Jansen Evelyn.
Good morning, everyone.
Primarily land use. And Jen Purcell.
Hi, good morning.
And Jansen came over from, he came over from Howard County where he was a DCAO for the last two county executives via the Police Accountability Board, which he got started for us and now into this position. And Jen, many of you know, was our chief of staff for the first couple of years and then did special projects and is now doing this. Renisha Alfonso, comms, communications.
She wasn't able to make it, sir.
Oh, okay. Government relations team now. We're well staffed, and I think most of you know these folks. We got Pete Barron, chief strategy officer.
Good morning, everyone.
And we've got Ethan Hunt.
Morning.
And Hannah Dyer.
Morning.
So you should make sure you have their phone numbers, all of them. And then, maybe most important for some of you as you do your constituent service work is to connect with our community engagement constituent services team, now led by Vince Molden.
Good morning.
Who moved up from deputy director to director of the team. James Kitchen is still with us. He's doing special projects and research for us. And then the team is made up of Hannah Thompson.
Morning.
Some of you may have met her. She was field director on the campaign side. And she's covering, we've got them organized. Can we show the map? We've got them organized by regional planning area. We have 9 regions and each of the field team has 3. If that pops up. Anyway, that region that Hannah's doing is Annapolis Junction, Brooklyn Park, BW, a lot of North County and West County. And then Tiana Parker, who you may recognize, having worked for Shanika Henson, Delegate Henson. Tiana.
Good morning. Good to see you all.
Covering regions 4, 6, and 7, Annapolis, and northward from there. And Courtney Beniscus, who some of you may remember ran for delegate in South County.
Good morning, everyone.
There's the map. So Courtney is the red, 7, 8, and 9 in South County, moving up into Crofton and Odenton. So do you want me to continue or I haven't seen the senator, so.
The senator is here.
Okay.
So thank you very much, County Executive, for being a little flexible as we shifted the schedule around. And we will give you lots of time to talk about your priorities and your vision for the county. But I also want to make sure that we're accommodating the senator's time, because, as you know, things move quickly in Congress. So with that, I would welcome Jessica Cook from Senator Cardin's office and Senator Ben Cardin.
Oh, I don't actually see them in here anymore. Do they? Oh, here he is again. They'll go back now. Could you repeat what you just said so Senator Cardin can hear it? Apologize.
Of course. I wanted to welcome Jessica Cook from Senator Ben Cardin's office and the good Senator Ben Cardin. Is he able to hear us? Give us one moment. It appears we have some technical issues.
And while you're doing that, I will finish the introductions, which I had failed to go to the next page. Sorry, folks. We also have Tamika Smith and Jennifer Holson, who are constituent services officers that work on specific issues. Sergio Polanco, multicultural affairs.
Hello.
And then executive assistants from Heidi May and Thelma Ubi.
Hi, all. Happy Friday.
Good morning, everyone.
And it looks like we do have the good senator now. Thank you so much, Senator Cardin, for making time for us today, and thank you, County Executive, for being flexible and welcome everyone.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Is it all right for me to start, or I don't?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. Okay. It's good to be here. This has been my week for Arundel County. Started Monday with the swearing in of our new controller, Brooke Learman, on Wednesday. Of course, what an exciting day. And County Exec Pittman, you did us all proud. That is not an easy assignment to try to keep people moving on an inaugural event. So congratulations to him for to the Moore Miller inaugurations. Last night I was with the Tri-County Planning Council for Southern Maryland, and I just came from Mountain, Maryland, now with the Arundel County delegation. A great week. Unfortunately, next week, Congress is back in session, so I have to stop having an enjoyable week and go back and do work in Washington, D.C. But I do appreciate this opportunity first to congratulate all of you on your re-elections or elections, and particularly the new members. Congratulations. It is an incredible experience to serve in the House of Delegates in the General Assembly. My finest years were in the Maryland General Assembly. I look back to those days with great fondness, and I congratulate all of you. I want you all to know this is Team Maryland. Our federal delegation works very closely together. I just left Senator Van Hollen at the Mountain, Maryland event. The two of us coordinate all of our activities, including, for example, your request for congressional earmarks. We review that, work together, work with the members of the House, work very closely with Congressman Sarbanes and Congressman Hoyer and the other members of our federal congressional team in order to sort out and do the best we can for the people of Maryland. The 117th Congress was an incredibly productive Congress. We got a lot accomplished, a lot of which was bipartisan, by the way. The bipartisan infrastructure bill that provides a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deal with our roads, our bridges, our transit systems, our ports, our airports, broadband, $238 million for the Chesapeake Bay. And we did it with concern about social justice to deal with communities that have been left behind in the past. We did it with sensitivity on transit issues. And we also passed, as you know, the American Rescue Plan, in which Anne Arundel County received substantial amount of help. I know County Exec Pittman used those funds appropriately, but when you look at the total monies that were received as a result of the American Rescue Plan and the CARES Act, you're talking about in excess of $221 million that were received in total during the COVID-19 pandemic, and another $169 million to your Department of Education. Those funds kept the counties afloat, kept Annapolis afloat. Some of those monies went directly to Annapolis so that we were able to provide the help during the pandemic. We didn't stop there. We also passed the Inflation Reduction Act that will deal with not only healthcare costs, but will also give you opportunities in regards to energy opportunities, clean energy. Governor Moore talked about that Wednesday at his inaugural address. We want to make sure that we work with you in order to help you deal with those opportunities. We also passed the Water Resources Development Act, the WRDA Act. It comes out of a committee I chair, the subcommittee on infrastructure. For the first time, we have set asides for small harbors, which will help us deal with some of the harbors here in the county that have been left behind in the past. We also provided help in regards to our water infrastructure, clean water, drinking water, wastewater treatment plants. There's new opportunities in all of these areas. So we also, in the infrastructure bill, provided for the transportation alternative programs. Again, a program that I authored. 10% of all transportation formula funds are going to go for local projects under the TAP program that help you deal with some of your local issues. So there's a lot to talk about that we can help you. And we want to make sure that it is Team Maryland. Jessica Cook's my eyes and ears. She would normally be sitting next to me. Instead, she's in front of me, so you can't see her because we are doing this by Zoom. But she's available at any time in order to help you. We want to make sure this is a continuing discussion. As you go through your work in this legislative session, we really do want you to coordinate with us where we can be of assistance. I would like to give you some guidance as to what's going to happen in the FY 24 appropriation process. It's a little bit early to give you those predictions. We have, as you know, a challenge with the debt ceiling as well as passing appropriation bills. We hope that we'll have the bipartisan leadership necessary to move our nation forward in a productive way. There is now new opportunities to deal with congressional earmarks. We went through 2 rounds in the last Congress, and we'll start the next round in the next few months. We were very pleased that we were able, through work of all the members. One of my responsibilities as senior senator is to coordinate our federal delegation. We don't have turf problems. We share information to get the maximum amount of support for Anne Arundel County. So we were pleased to support Mayor Buckley's request for the City Dock program in Annapolis. It's got $3.46 million in congressional earmarks. We were pleased to support County Exec Pittman's request to deal with the Crownsville hospital renovation funds, $3 million there. To deal with the Odenton Mark Station, $4 million. And there's other earmarks that we are able to get for the trails. Trails are one of our favorite programs to connect communities. Thank you, County Exec Pittman, for your leadership there. We're your partner, and we want to make sure that we continue, and you'll have additional support in that regard. Small business is what I chair. We got some money in for small businesses in Anne Arundel County through earmarks. And of course, the Emergency Operations Center, public safety is always a priority. We got an earmark in that regard. So there are lots of opportunities we have to partner with you, to advance with you. We are very much laser focused on major installations that are located in Anne Arundel County with Fort Meade, the United States Naval Academy. That always presents some very interesting challenges for us with the community. And we're going to work very closely to make sure that we have transparency and that the local community is heard in the decisions that are made there. And then lastly, BWI Airport. There's lots of funds coming into BWI Airport. It presents community issues that we have to deal with, that we are continuing to work with. But believe me, we want to work with the state, with the delegation to advance all these issues. So, Madam Chair, just a quick overview of some of the issues we have going on. But my main reason for being with you today is to congratulate you on your election and all the new members and re-elected members to the Anne Arundel County delegation, to let you know it is Team Maryland. You have your federal delegation that is very much interested in working with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Senator. I know that you have a hard stop at 9. Do you have time for a question or two?
Sure, absolutely.
Do I have questions from the members? Go ahead and raise your hand in the Zoom. I see Delegate Lehman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And
Yes.
Thank you, Senator Cardin. Thank you for your excellent work on the Hill and your representation of Maryland. You do us proud every day.
Thank you.
So it's great to have you here. I was interested, I'm on the Environment Committee, interested if you could talk at all about any specific federal initiatives. There are a lot more initiatives, more and more all the time, which is great to address climate change. But with respect specifically to sea level rise, because Maryland is very, very vulnerable. It already is low lying. You may be or may not be aware. I know County Exec Pittman is that the U.S. Naval Academy a few years ago did a study indicating it might have to actually move to higher ground in the next 20 years or so because of where it's situated and the risk of flooding. Can you address what is going on at the federal level with respect to mitigation programs?
Yeah, Mary, thank you very much for that question. You're absolutely right. The environmental issues are critically important. We recognize climate change. We've passed the point where we should have acted. We're now in crisis and we have to act. We got to do two things. We first got to mitigate, which means we have to be a responsible player in reducing the carbon footprint of our community, of our country, as a leader in the global community fight against the rapid warming of our climate, of our planet. So yes, and we have direct responsibilities there. Maryland's been a leader on this. As you know, the Inflation Reduction Act takes a huge step forward with the United States dramatically reducing its carbon footprint through the use of its transportation and energy sectors, as well as other ways in our buildings. We're doing a major job there to reduce the carbon footprint. But secondly, we have to adapt. We have to recognize the reality that we've gone too far and we have to protect, particularly our coastal communities, our military installations, etc. You may have known that there was a significant investment at the Naval Academy on its seawall as a result of the rising sea levels and the flooding that's been done there. At the U.S. Naval Academy, we've also changed their utility structure so that it's not as vulnerable as it's been in the past. So we've taken steps at the U.S. Naval Academy to protect its infrastructure through adaptation funds. Now, are there new opportunities? Absolutely. We passed the Water Resources Development Act. I was able to get an amendment in the Water Resources Development Act, the WRDA Act, that provides $100 million to Maryland. These are funds only that Maryland will get for shoreline preservation issues that will allow us to deal with adaptation as a result of sea level rises. So we have a pool of dollars that now are available that will be allocated and gives us a chance to show some initiative and ingenuity in dealing with the realities of the sea level circumstances. We also have, under the Inflation Reduction Act, is the largest single investment ever in climate. Part of those funds are dealing with creative ways to help in regards to the consequences of climate change, as well as innovative ways to reduce our carbon footprint. Maryland can take advantage on both sides. First on adaptation funds, but also in regards to innovation on smarter transportation programs that are adapted to the realities of sea level. Those funds are available. I already mentioned, the transportation alternative programs allow local governments to use these transportation dollars to deal with adaptation issues concerning sea level increases. So there are many opportunities here for us to deal with the realities. This was the most productive Congress ever in dealing with the realities of climate change, including the realities of sea level rises that we see in our community. We're not alone in this. Virginia has a very similar problem with military installations. Up and down the coast, we see this happening. And of course, we have communities that are extremely vulnerable to flooding. We did get Mid-Bay done. I want to just mention that. We have construction funds for Mid-Bay, which allows us to do some environmental restoration, major projects in the Chesapeake Bay itself. So it was a good 2 years. We now need to take advantage of those programs that are available.
Wow, thank you so much. That is great information. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much, Senator. I don't see any other questions from the members. So I just wanted to say on behalf of myself, Vice Chair Jones, and the entire delegation, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for leading Team Maryland. And thank you for making yourself available to us because we really appreciate the partnership we have with our federal partners.
Thank you again, and thanks to the county exec for allowing me to take some of his time today. I appreciate it very much, and it's a pleasure to work with you, and I look forward to our partnership.
Well worth it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a great segue to the fact that that this meeting is about our partnership, our county, our state, and our federal partnership. So we're going to turn back to the county executive. For anyone who came into the meeting a little late, the County Executive Pittman did introduce his team. So thank you so much for that. And as Senator Cardin did mention, County Executive is kind of a big deal. He was our Master of Ceremonies for the inauguration, which I know was a great trial run for pitch hitting in the middle of our delegation meeting. So thank you so much, County Executive, for being here, and we look forward to hearing from you about your vision and for the county and your asks of the state.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a trial run for this. Introducing Oprah was, and now I have the great delegation chair Heather Bagnall introducing me. Good week. So congratulations, Delegate Bagnall, on being selected to lead the delegation this year, and also Delegate Jones, congratulations, and Senate Chair Beidel, who I believe is with us. Thank you for leading our delegation. So it's great to see you all in your actual chairs that you ran so hard for, and new ones and the old ones. Looking forward to a great session together. Also, just want to thank Senator Cardin. He really has done amazing work for our county, and the earmarks are exactly what we've needed. And it's been great to have all of this federal support. We know it won't last forever, and we're making sure that we invest it wisely in one-time expenses and standing on our own 2 feet otherwise. And I'll talk about budget in a minute, but I do want to just say, just note that it's a new day in the administration with the Moore administration. We saw yesterday already, major investments in what this General Assembly asked for. And so in equity and in the environment, in health, in workers. So I really look forward to seeing what's in the budget that they've had 2 days to put together. I'm sure they've been working on it, but I know we all look forward to that. And I also want to just note that the cabinet that he's put together, I think many of us have read those bios very carefully as they've come out, and I've been incredibly impressed at the depth of experience. And these are not a bunch of political appointments. These are real leaders who know how to manage agencies and know their topics extraordinarily well. So I'm excited to work with them. If you're a Democrat, it's on us now. We got to make everything work. There's no one else to blame. And if you're a Republican, I recognize that it's a bit lonely in Maryland right now in the government, and I hope we can all work together. That the Democrats, I know you all in the General Assembly really get this right, and I wish the voters and I wish the press would cover the fact that Democrats and Republicans work together. We try at the county level as well. Had a great town hall last night with Councilman Volke, and look forward to doing those with all the council members in the coming weeks. Let's show the state and the county that we govern for all of them, regardless of how they vote. So I introduced the new staff, and I'm thrilled about the team that we have. I want to just say a few things about where we're going. The theme that you keep hearing me say is we're here to finish what we started. And that really is true because there are so many things that we started. A lot of them are capital projects, but some of them are initiatives and changes in the way we operate in terms of equity, the environment, development, transportation. The list goes on and on and on. And we have lots of plans to implement that you can read. There's Plan 2040 is the one that is the bulkiest and that really does lay out, I think, how our county can grow in a way that is both equitable, environmentally sensitive, resilient, and smart. So I really do focus on that. It has been a challenge in some cases to move forward on that plan. It does require development, which is not always politically popular. It seems like there's a group opposed to just about anything you build in the county, and we just have to be smart about how we talk about these issues and describe the benefits to our residents. So we've made some changes in land use departments over the last year or two, really. Inspections and permits, transportation have had new directors come in. And then as of yesterday, Jenny Jarkowski came in as the director of the Office of Planning and Zoning from Harford County with glowing recommendation from Barry Glassman, county executive there, who hired her for that job. A lot of experience at the state level as well. So we think we're in good shape. The budget, it's not as good as last year. I think some of you have heard some of the numbers, and we're doing town halls. We're doing 8 of them, all 7 districts plus 1 in Spanish that will be virtual. But for the first time in town halls, I'm actually telling people what our revenue projections look like and what we're projecting in terms of increased costs, the non-discretionary stuff that we have to do that is partly a result of inflation and the fact that everything seems to get more expensive. So,
was he coming in here because I keep being kicked off?
Oh, no, he was coming in here to do our thing.
Somebody's unmuted there, but I'll keep going. So last year over year, we had an extraordinary $130 million more dollars than the previous year to invest in recurring expenses, in payroll, in new positions and things, in pay increases. Part of that was because the real estate market was hopping, and we had this huge $190-some million real estate recordation and transfer taxes coming in. That's down to about 130. So there goes $50 million. We knew that was going to happen. We did not expect that to continue. But so this year we've got about 80 million more, we think, than last year to spend on recurring expenses. We have a nice fund balance that we can continue to use for some of our one-time projects, but 80 million versus 130 million the previous year. And when you look at the school board budget request or the superintendent's request, it's going to the board that we don't think will change a lot. We're talking about 80 million plus there that they've asked for, 86 million over last year, and that's mostly for pay increases. It's mostly for what Dr. Bedell has been pitching in his town halls, which is that in order to fill all the vacancies, they're going to have to be competitive with the private sector and make teaching and their other jobs desirable, and that's expensive. So it's a major pressure for us, but we also have police and fire. All public safety and every other department of county government with similar pressures. So, we can either just turn our backs on it. We can try to cut other things, which, has been done a lot in this county before. So we have a smaller budget per capita than other counties our size already, trying to provide the same services. Or we can cheat like some counties do and use one-time money for recurring expenses and create a structural deficit. We got rid of that and we don't want that to come back. We're not in a position where we should have to do something like that. And the third is to look at different ways to create revenue. So I'm presenting to the residents, the taxpayers, how you can raise revenue with a progressive income tax, with a regular income tax, getting us closer to the 3.2 that our neighbors have, or with property tax. And all of those options have to be on the table. They're on the table every year. Charter requires that we look at our expenses and our needs. Then we go over and we look at what our tax rates should be, how we're going to create the revenue. So stay tuned on that, weigh in on that, but we've got some tough decisions to make this year. The stuff that I believe that this county cannot neglect are public health and wellness, our environment, and our resilience authority, which some of you may have noticed that we got Matt Fleming from the state finally in. He was hoping to do that job, and we temporarily staffed it with a consultant to get the resilience authority started, and they've done a great job on that. So Matt has hit the ground running. Some of you will meet him. Thank you for the authority to do that resilience authority, those of you who worked on that. But really, I think more than anything is the way our economy has moved, the way our economy grew as a result of the aftermath of the pandemic, is that everything is about education and workforce. It is about filling the jobs that our businesses have now. And we obviously have more jobs in the private sector and the public sector and the nonprofit sector, even in some cases, that need to get filled. And so we're excited about the blueprints, requirements that we do more with workforce development. We're talking to our workforce development team now about how to spend those funds. But we know that if our community college and our school system are not well staffed, that they will not be able to create the workforce of the future. So that's really where we have to focus, in my view. And I will just stop there. No, I won't. I will just note that specifically, I think all of you have the letter that we sent to the governor. We shared with the press. It ended up on the front page of the Capitol. So it's pretty clear what the 10 things that we've identified, mostly in the areas of funding, that we would hope that some of you would help to encourage as well. And very quickly, the Parole Transit Center, the Odenton Town Center developed TOD designation. We don't need money for that parking garage anymore. We've got the funds from the federal earmark and from our TIF dollars in that area to build the parking garage on the MARC station. So we're thrilled about that, but there will be a need for some development around there to build it all out. Route 2 and Route 3, we got going with the Hogan administration with an MOU, and they're doing design to address those traffic bottlenecks. And we need to accelerate those projects and get the state to invest their dollars in those state roads. Rec and parks, the trail networks, South Shore Park is going to be a great new park with both indoor and outdoor fields, playing fields right in the middle of the county. So we've got a request in there. Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park, of course, $5 million is pre-approved thanks to the work you did last year that we need. We have a project team put together, and there's going to be a lot of planning over the next year or so on that. And then in public safety, we've got the Joint 911 call center that is going to be expensive, but we believe we absolutely need. And then of course on school construction, we have, we're keeping up much better than most counties on that, but we have a lot of schools that are in the pipeline. So we need your support there. And then a few smaller ones, the Ralph Bunch Community Center, Brooklyn Park Teen Center, we've called it in the past, Community Center, and then the new nonprofit incubator at Crownsville in the building that we already own, as well as the Resilience Authority. And then there's a small request on the Chesapeake Bay Trust building. So that's the stuff that we've sent to you and sent to the governor. I think all of us, every county recognizes that this may be the last of the good years with some one-time money that can be invested. And we want to make sure that Anne Arundel County residents get the investment that they deserve. So I'll stop there.
You're on mute, Heather.
Thank you so much. And thank you, County Executive. And on behalf of myself and the Vice Chair and the delegation, we also want to congratulate you. On your reelection. I think we really appreciate the fact that you are looking at the fiscal health, not just of our present county, but making good on the investments for the future and our commitments that you made in your first term. And so congratulations on on the second term. I know it will look very different. And so with that, I would like to open it up to questions with a reminder that we do have access to the county executive and his entire team. So ask your best questions, and if we need follow-up, we'll ask the county executives team to follow up with the entire delegation. Do I have questions from the delegation or from our Senate partners? Oh, I see a hand from Senator Beidel, our chair of the Senate delegation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. County Executive, thank you for all your work. I know that funding is going to be difficult in the coming years, particularly with the blueprint, but it's important. We talked briefly when I saw you earlier this week about recreation in our county. And I just ask that you and your team look at some of the creative ways that other counties are expanding recreation. We talked about a project in Prince George's that's amazing. And as I travel around the county and other states, I see some really creative ways that developers are being involved in providing recreation opportunities. I feel like our population in the county has really grown. I know in my district, it grew tremendously in the last 10 years. So looking forward in your long-term planning, can we do more for recreation for our children? Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree that and some of those are P3s with independent operators. You remember we had the first P3 that Rec and Parks was going to do was the indoor tennis and center at Millersville, and that was ready to go. Coppermine was our partner, and council chose to pass on that one. So we hope we can get another partner to join us for some future ones.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Delegate Seth Howard has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. County Executive, I just want to make you aware, we had a great meeting, Councilwoman Ledbetter and I over at Southern High School, and we're looking forward to your support for the second turf field and new lights that are desperately needed at that high school. I think all of the other high schools have 2 turf fields and are maintaining those turf fields and or replacing those turf fields, and South County still only has 1. And I know that her and I have been working on that. We've met those folks over there. The baseball field lights, they're 35 years old. I already met with those guys down at Southern, said, you know, can you get the contractor out here, see if maybe it's something that they can upgrade or repair? It is not. So we'll be calling on, you know, the state and the county for help for those desperately needed projects. And I look forward to your support moving forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Howard. And I met with Councilwoman Ledbetter this week about those, and I understand that Senator Elfreth is working hard on a plan
Yes,
for the turf field, and that the role that we may play is to step in and take an existing area that is just grass and do the Bermuda grass there. So
Good.
they can operate another field. So I think we're going to make progress.
Thank you. And yes, it was. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. Absolutely, it was myself, Councilwoman Ledbetter, and Senator Elfreth, and the folks, some of the staff over at Southern High School is very productive, and just look forward to your support. And thank you.
Do I have any other questions from the delegation? I just want to take a point of personal privilege as the delegate from District 33C, formerly of District 33, to say thank you for the efforts on Route 2 and Route 3. You know, obviously they have been a long anchor around the necks of our folks in trying to, you know, to transit the county. So thank you for making this a priority.
Can I add one more thing?
And absolutely.
You know, I mentioned implementation of Plan 2040 and equity, but I did not specifically say that we have a housing crisis in our county that is going to only get worse given the cost of housing. And that's going to require us to make some difficult decisions. Some of them may be in zoning code. It means that we do have to, I know it's not always politically popular, but we do have to find ways of making it feasible for developers of affordable housing to actually develop affordable housing, because our businesses are crying out for places for their workforce to live, and at every income level. So I was looking at Delegate Henson in the middle of my screen, and I thought housing. So I know we're all going to work on that together, and I know there's some initiatives at the state level as well. So I'll be with you on that.
Well, thank you very much, County Executive. We really appreciate your work. We really appreciate your partnership. I know that we spoke yesterday, and I think you were going to put together a list of your new team, so that we'll get that out to the entire delegation, so that we know who to contact with our, particularly with our constituent concerns, but also with these funding requests and with prioritization. So we'll make sure to get that out in the coming days. Excellent job. We had very few questions, so I'm sure we will have more questions to come, and we look forward to continuing to partner through this session. So thank you very much. I'm going to open it up. Are there any other comments from the members? Any announcements that you would like to make? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Do I have a motion? Motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.